Okay, hello everybody. I hope you're all seated well, and I hope we can hear each other. Can you just drop a line into chat? Okay, yes, so we can hear each other. I've been just informed that there will be no moderator, so a warm welcome from University of Ljubljana, from Academy of Fine Arts and Design. My name is Domen Fras. This is where I teach typography since 2017. And today I will present you a short or edited type walk, which actually happened in August 23rd this year as a part of International Summer School of Typeface Design with Professor Jelonilas from Reading University, who was our guest. And I will shortly switch to video. It will take us through 34, 35 spots in Ljubljana. After the video presentation, of course, I'm happy to answer any of your questions regarding anything you will see on this way. Hello everyone, my name is Domen Fras and welcome at the University of Ljubljana Academy of Fine Arts and Design. A type walk will lead us to through the material, historical, cultural and also linguistic characteristics of type forms in Ljubljana. And while searching for common design features and typefaces of the city, we will pay attention to repetitive patterns, vivid inscriptions, different compositions, maybe unusual ligatures, and innovative but sometimes also neglected diacritical marks, which are very crucial for Slavic languages. So we will share some subjective observations on formal aspects of visual communication in urban environments. We will focus on well-known objects that hide some details we usually just walk by. The concept of a walk uncovers very important skill which is decisive for typographic education. There's one question: how do we observe type, and how to understand what we are observing, actually what we are looking at? The plaque at the Academy of Fine Arts and Design, our first spot. It is here since 1960s when the Academy moved in. Nice example of light and open Roman style capitals. Chiseled and gilded. This type and its pattern is very common on our route through Ljubljana. See low leading, uneven spacing, particularly the word space between words za and likovno. Letter U is outstanding because of its minuscule form. The obelisk is dedicated to women protesters in 1943 and resembles female silhouette with folds of a skirt. Two levels of hierarchy. Acronym OF, Osvobodilna Fronta, is sculpted, the inscription is chiseled. Geometric typeface in an oscillating composition close to the edges. Letter O changes its position from bottom to top line. Leg of the R is connected to the stem and letter J has a tiny curve. The carons are set freely. These forms share similarities to type patterns of Campor Memorial at Island Rab by the same author, Edward Ravnikar. The tomb is a sarcophagus with reliefs and the all-around inscription. We are observing engraved letters, but cannot see the trace of a tool. I speculate they were cut with a machine. Their style is modern with some contrast and without serifs. The emphasis is on very careful typographical planning of the running verse. There is no space between the words. Asterisk, the star shows the verse break. Looking closer reveals nice ligatures, VA, RA, GA. And innovative use of a diacritical mark within the main glyph. Slovene orthography knows only caron, but uses acute and diaresis for name notation. Here, the difference between caron and acute is in its direction. Granite block with inscriptions was added later beneath the original tomb. We can spot a typographical tryout, but not really a successful one. The shopping center used to belong to the Emona Trade Company. In the beginning it was called Emona Maxi Market, but people shortened it to Maxi. By the time geometric Emona logo was added at the terminals of the concrete beams above and below narrow windows. They stand out as buttons on the facade. The architect's attention to the detail on the architectural element is reflected in the design of the lamppost, and it's reminiscent of Plečnik's attitude to detail. On May 9, 1975, at the top of Iskra skyscraper, a digital time display illuminated for the first time, in 3 directions, and became iconic instantly. 42 years later it was shut down due to repair, upsetting the residents and the professionals with no hint of his returning. Inhabitants of Ljubljana complained. One of the most prominent city symbols was back in function on 17 February 2018. At Cankar's monument, we can see the effect of a portrait transferred to third dimension. Increased scale and linear raster in the bronze create an interesting moving illusionist image. The monument communicates with the surrounding, but acts like a dream object. When you are far away, Cankar's image is clear. When you come closer, it disappears. Raster visual effects are significant in print production. The recognition of typographic detail can be described with this visual effect too. The closer you get, the more abstract it becomes. Behind the trees, at the top of the signpost, is a logotype TR3, Trg Republike 3. This one is oxidized due to atmospheric influences, but the version above the entrance shines like a new dime. This is an outstanding piece of craft. Type materialized in brass is an object for type fetishists. In a formal aspect, more neutral typeface is expected to do the job here. It is interesting that Bodoni, a typeface from early 18th century, is used instead. Deliberately or not, it evokes a meaningful contrast to modernist architecture carrying the sign. The letters at the nameplate resemble Plečnik's types he used to annotate his blueprints. The plate itself is mediocre, rather awkward in setting the type. But pay attention to archaic capital A with top bar, curvy leg at capital R, tiny glyphic serifs, and yet again problematic diacritical mark positioning. As we get closer to the monument, the portrait based on August Berthold photo disappears. What is left are only dark gutters with uneven edges interacting with light bronze plane. On the right hand side is Cankar's quote in his recognizable handwriting: "Moje delo je slutnja zarje." My work is a premonition of dawn. While one moves around the monument, the third dimension is combined with fourth. The portrait appears and disappears depending on the time one spends walking around. Last but not least, through the vertical lines we can feel the visual link to the facades in the background. The pillar is 14 meters high, consisting of 16 blocks of Brač light stone. At the top of the blocks the metal coat of arms is attached, and at the junction of 4th and 5th block in the axis of Vegova Street, on one side is a bronze head of Illyria, on the other head of Napoleon. Beneath the heads there are golden inscriptions in Old Slovene by Valentin Vodnik and French composed by Oton Zupančič. The type is executed similarly to the Tomb of Natural Heroes. Engraved at 19 degrees angle, the contours are very sharp. Therefore, higher contrast of geometrical sans serif type is clearly visible. The inscriptions on all sides are perfectly balanced and the lines evenly spaced. The overall pattern is consistent. But there is a particularity caught by the sharp eye of a typographer. The letter U and the letter V are mirrored. The conventional distribution of contrast in Latin capital is thick downstroke and thin upstroke. The disturbance could be considered as a mistake, but fortunately not a crucial one. Nevertheless, the Illyrian pillar is one of the best examples of its style by the time it was erected. Bronze bust of the poet Simon Gregorčić stands on a profiled stone pedestal under a canopy that was originally shaped like a pergola. Balanced central alignment, very open, smoothly modulated Roman type is set solid, enabling letters to collide instead of breathe. No attention to the diacritical marks makes the composition even worse. Charon substituted with Cyrillic breve and simply added like a necessary evil. However, the date is set well comparing the verse above. Numeral 9 and lengthy J are characteristical for this type of inscriptions in Ljubljana. In Križanke, sgraffito technique is used for the inscriptions. Plečnik's interpretation of the sickle and the hammer, a proletarian symbol. It is obvious that the socialist regime after World War II wanted its symbols to be presented on public buildings, and it is also obvious that Plečnik, with completely opposite political views, will design it his way. Let's pay attention to the portraits of Jože Plečnik and his assistant on this project, Anton Bitenc, by sculpturer, also ex-student of Plečnik, Vladimira Bratuš Laka. The inscription above the arches is Plečnik's eternal signature. Minljiv si, le tvoja dela so tvoj spomin. You are fleeting, only your deeds are your memory. Medieval part of Ljubljana. The year on the monastery portal is 1567. The date it was partially built after the earthquake in 1511. The stone plate has carved inscription, "The Design High School." It is very nicely executed piece with an evident attention to the letter space between L and I and L and A. Stone street plate Križevniška ulica reveals some local characteristics of letter forms like R, U and figure 2. Zois pyramid in memory of Baron Žiga Zois, the most influential figure of Slovenian Enlightenment. The inscription in the style of the open Roman capital, an archetype for Plečnik's treatment of the letters on his artworks. Relief memorial plaque for Gabriel Gruber, the constructor of Ljubljanica Channel. Condensed and solid composition of geometrical type, tiny diacritical marks, some resemblance to the arbitrary position of O's at the Liberation Front obelisk. Missing middle bar at A compensates white space. Hyphens are doubled. Characteristical curvy leg of R and lengthy J can also be spotted here. Vega's memorial plaque is very similar to Gruber's memorial plaque. Lettering is solid and condensed with jumpy O's. The mathematician's name is emphasized. The inscription here is a chronogram. It is a sentence in which specific letters, interpreted as Roman numerals, stand for a particular date when rearranged. In the pure chronogram, each word contains a numeral. The natural chronogram shows all numerals in the correct numerica. Deciphering higher letters in this case, Magno Deo et Sancto Jacobo reveals the M for 1000, D for 500, 2 C's for 200 and I for 1, 17-1. This is the date when main portal was built. One of the best examples of stone memorial plaque on our route. Excellently balanced central alignment, clear hierarchy in size, color and position. The pattern is based on Roman capital style characteristical for Ljubljana, the one we have already seen before. The letter forms have geometrical skeleton with some catchy design features like joins at the diagonals. Diacritical marks are a bit modest, but placed exactly above basic glyph, they do their job well.
Another chronogram.
Above, the fountain of the church wall with inscription Ecce aqua bibendam consul propinat.
Glejte, voda, župan jo ponuja.
Look, water, the mayor offers it. M for 1000, D 500, 3 C's 300, L for 50, 2 V's 10, 2 I's 2, they all make it 1862. Signed painted shop names from early 20th century are very rare in Ljubljana. Slačicharna, the pastry shop, is a perfect example of the time. An exceptional piece of vernacular design. Not perfect, but honest. Designers, you should be a bit jealous about that. Slightly hidden behind the plants, rather small memorial plaque shows repetitive pattern. Central composition, low line space, open capitals, emphasized diagonal joints, a lengthy J and curvy leg at R. This memorial plaque is one of my favorites. Perfectly balanced central composition and reasonable two-level hierarchy. Letters on the circular edge are sculpted and decorative from far. The inscription is engraved. Extraordinary characteristics are lack of spaces, R with curvy leg, lengthy J's, spiral numeral 6 and letter V, which represents three entities, sounds V and U and the number 5. Cornerstones by Boris Kobe, a municipal architect in 1960s who was responsible for revitalization of medieval city. These stone figures reveal his imagination and genius. Playful confines are humorous inhabitants of Stari and Mestni Trg. Alongside one of the most prominent Plečnik's architectural masterpieces, we can find his idea of Slovenian coat of arms, 50 years ahead of its time. Iconic handles of the main entrance door are decorated with two heads of Pegasus, a winged horse symbolically guiding visitors to the realm of knowledge. The classicistic facade is adorned by gilded relief portraits of Slovenian musicians and complemented by two mythological figures. Extremely careful planning and consistent monochromatic imagery. Letterforms are reduced. Straight J, A lacks the bar, but creates a sensible LA ligature. The building was renovated some years ago and also the plaque was grinded. Unfortunately, the letters lost their depth and weight. Therefore, we hardly see tiny little carons, which used to be much larger. But their placement is excellent. Just beneath upper S stroke. Perfectly balanced, condensed neo-grotesque type with nice example of problematic LJ combination, where upper bar closes the space between two of them. Zebra was one of the first photocopy shops in Ljubljana. Extra bold interplay of black and white within the type seems very logical solution for a logotype of such a business back in 80s. It is so nice to see the traces of time. There is no need to have everything new. Weird modular typeface with unusual letterforms and uneven contrast. If such letters are set together and presented so boldly in the public space, they start to interact subconsciously. Once you see this blue monster, you can't miss it anymore. Large-scale inscriptions set with ready-made letters usually result in uneven spacing, but sharp and trained eye will easily find also the letters turned upside down. Two S's and an N make a representative case for learning. Do not even think to fix it. The lettering and the Franciscan church facade shares the same pattern. It shows the manipulation with ready-made letters on the large scale is rather difficult. The operator is too close to see the whole picture, especially the distances between the letters, which clearly stand out from the distance. Urban's house is a department store. On the top of the corner stands a statue of Mercury, the Roman god of trading. On the right side, next to his feet, is a portrait of Felix Urbans, the owner of the store at the time it was built. This is his witty signature.
Little detail that really bothers me.
Precise cuts in pohorje tonalit stone, coherent set of linear letters, controlled spacing, correct middle axis. Unbalanced P and R in the Art Deco style are obvious, but S and particularly its caron just do not fit in. The monument for Slovenian greatest poet is executed excellently. However, the situation with the unstable S and its bizarre caron remains a mystery. This is the typeface designed by Professor Lucian Bratuš on the basis of Plečnik's headlines in the Book of Tales Makalonca. At the time the central market was renovated, the lettering was put above the entrances all over the place. We can see already known characteristics. Curvy leg at R, also its bowl doesn't touch the stem. There are overlapping diagonal joints. It is executed well. It seems the lettering is at its place from the very beginning. Here you can see the presence of the caron. It has to be a matching element of balanced size and appropriate distance. We are at the end of our type walk. How much attention you will pay to the letters you find yourself in the future, I leave it to you. Ne sitis diem, neque oram. Be watchful, for you don't know the day nor the hour.
What can also mean that you be watchful. You don't know what interesting things you will find on your way home. Thank you very much indeed. You were great. Good.
So, thank you very much for joining us on this condensed type walk through Ljubljana. And of course, if we can hear each other, if you have any questions, I think Jana will also join us as a moderator and help us with that. Okay. Whatever it wants, you can set your questions. Could it be chat? Could it be question and answers section? We'll try to follow everything. Oh, thank you, Petra. Yeah, it was quite a relief. Yeah. There's a little outdoor advertising in the city. Something remember from my visit. If I know why. Yes. Well, I will speculate that answer. There is a certain rule or sort of a local bill that outdoor advertising is only limited to city lights within a special places, special spots like bus stops, and really some like zones for pedestrians and so on. Yes, Sam. Again, we have to deal with the fact that we've been in the city center, and we focused primarily on typefaces lettering that is related to monuments, to memorial plaques, and so on. So definitely this is only one point of view on the typographic matter in Ljubljana urban environment. And this one is also connected to work of architect Jože Plečnik as well. So if you will have a chance to visit Ljubljana in near future, you might become you might be a bit depressed or unsatisfied, because main roads leading to Ljubljana are, I would say, they're quite loaded with advertising, particularly billboards. Okay, Fernando, I understand. Maybe it was really a bit too packed, but I believe there will be also a second chance to follow the recording, and maybe on that spot you can still press the pause button. Oh, what you love the diacritic decisions, but what I think as an original speaker, as a native speaker of Slovene, thank you, Carolina, for this question. It's a very interesting one, since Slovenian language and its orthography knows only one diacritical mark, and this is Karen. Or Hacek, if you know, like in Czech. I am quite keen to many of its forms, because for Slovene reader, everything what is actually above C, Z, C, S, or Z is considered to be a Karen. But of course, in relation to other diacritical marks, it cannot be just like that. So, as I said, I am quite keen to this innovative use, maybe also this innovative placement, as we saw on that small memorial plate, where diacritical marks were positioned just below upper S stroke. But I would say, in particularly in terms when they are unbalanced, or they are just too small, I have a problem with that. I still believe that even though it's innovative one, it should be present and should be balanced well. Is it that I replied to your question? Okay. Okay. Another one? Oh, yes. So, do we have anyone else on board with any other question? Just maybe wait for a last one, as there is no more. Just let me see if I missed something. No? Okay, so if this is it, I will thank you for watching, and also you can consider this type walk as a invitation from our part to Ljubljana. You are more than welcome to see it. It's a really lovely place to spend some nice time here. Okay, thank you very much, and see you around.